Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Footy Yarn AFL Draft podcast. It's really exciting to be here in the studio, potentially the last one in the studio for the year because I have a few out-of-studio ones. Two blokes I'm very excited to get on, two premiership players from Claremont. I've got my favourite player in the draft, Fonti, and Sam Van Rooyen, who is maybe the best key forward out of WA this year. Boys, how are we feeling?
Yeah, good. Yourself?
Oh, I'm excited, Joe. I'm very excited. Sam, how are you?
Very excited.
Yeah, now, first and foremost, what has the off-season been looking like for both of us?
Mainly just hitting the gym, working, bit of running, but mainly gym. But
I gave myself a little holiday, but now I'm slowly steady and working my way back into getting in shape and trying to knock some seconds off the 2K and running and just in the gym as well.
Yeah, now I'm going to talk about the finale because I think this should be out after it. We've got probably the most polarisingly different sort of displays we could have on the couch. Fonti, I'm going to start with you. You're not looking too pleased to talk about the topic. How are you feeling now you've had some time to think about it?
Yeah, there's still a lot of sort of, I suppose, anxiety attached to that particular day and episode, but hopefully no recruiters chase after that video because I'm not sure what it would do to my draft stocks.
Yeah, Sam, you did say before, in your interview with the two Rileys, that no recruiters are going to be watching it. I can confirm that I know at least Brisbane Lions welfare manager has once watched a video, so who knows who else is watching these videos. Do you want to apologise for saying the contest doesn't really matter because no recruiters are going to watch it, and how does it feel to win?
I do want to apologise. I didn't think I'd win, so I was acting like it wouldn't be important, but now that I've taken the dub, I've definitely changed my mind about that, but yeah.
That was actually one of the toughest shoots I've ever done. That went for so fucking long.
It did.
I've spent 6 hours just putting the clips in. Really? It's gone for that long. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Now, Fonti, you were talking just then, but last minute chat with clubs. Have you had anyone that sort of, I don't know how much you're allowed to say, have you had anything that sort of come late for both of you?
I haven't really had any new recent clubs, but particular clubs having additional meetings with me, which is sort of, promising and gets my confidence up, but you don't want to let it, sort of create an expectation that it's going to happen because you see boys who are projected to go higher than Sam and I are and get unlucky. So, yeah, just anything will do.
Yeah, Roo?
I haven't had any new clubs like Fonts, but I've had one club in particular that's spoken to me a second time, but yeah, like Font said, just not trying to get my hopes up and just acting like I'm not going to get drafted on the night so I don't disappoint myself when it comes to it.
Yeah, prepare for failure, hope for success.
Yeah.
Something like that. There's a saying.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of the interviews, we were just talking about, I guess, doing the interviews with your parents and all that. Are there any interviews that you've come out of feeling like you've just fucked it? Like you've just sort of not dished up a performance that's, representative of you?
Yeah, there was a particular interview. I don't think it entirely matters if I say it was with Essendon, and I had Nick Martin in my mind prepared to go because obviously you don't want to go into a first interview not having like a player comparison in case they ask or something, and I had him ready to go. WA boy, didn't think I needed to do any other additional research, thought it would just come to me. They asked for a couple player comparisons and I gave players from different clubs, and then they said, yeah, but is there anyone in particular that you try and take bits of their game from our club? And as soon as they said it, I just had a complete mind blank, could feel my face starting to get red hot. And then rather than trying to save myself and think of the player and let it come to my mind, all I was thinking about was, fuck, this is embarrassing. This is getting bad. I can feel my face getting red hot. And then rather than improvising and saying something like, oh, I don't know, I'm unique, I'm going to bring something different to the club, I just stretched along and went, yeah, it's on the tip of my tongue. Oh, yeah. And they were both on the edge of their seats. And I went, yeah, sorry, I can't think of anyone. So, yeah, that was pretty grim. That one was pretty grim. But apart from that, all of them went pretty smoothly.
Yeah, Ro?
I can think of something, but I don't know if I can really say.
How do the speed dates work with interviews?
You pretty much just, so they get all the boys in it. This is before I was in the state academy, so this was after I kicked that 5-goal game against Subi.
Yeah. King.
I just rocked up. I didn't know anyone apart from Dan and Clay, and we all just pretty much sat on the couches at Chewett in the gym, and we pretty much just sat there, and then all the clubs are like set up on different tables, and you just go around to each club for like 15 minutes. And you just walk from table to table, and yeah.
Like all 18 clubs are there?
No, I think there were 10 clubs when I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you sort of just walk from each one to one, and then.
And is there a timer going? Or is it just sort of...
Not really, but like they've sort of planned it out so that it is 15 minutes.
15 minutes each or total?
15 minutes at each club.
Gee, that's not speed at all.
Yeah,
That's a
wow.
long interview.
That's proper dating.
How long do the interviews go for? Like,
For,
not those ones, like a regular interview.
Oh, like 45 minutes to an hour.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
What do they even go on about for that?
I don't know. It just flies by, hey.
Yeah.
Like, after a few, the most recent one I had, I was sort of looking at the clock because you become used to it, but like definitely your first like 3 or 4, it's just like it happens and
You'd be so excited.
yeah,
as well.
exactly. Like nerves are going, and then after it's done, it felt like it went for 15 minutes. But when you become used to it and you sort of adrenaline's not rushing as much, they slow down. But yeah, they don't feel like they go that long.
Do some of them like constantly feel like repeats of like previous interviews, especially ones with like clubs you've already had before? Are there ones where you just feel like you've had this conversation already?
You always get like the same questions, like what are your strengths and weaknesses?
Yeah.
Who do you play like all that shit. Like so, every club will ask you those like 5 or so same questions, and then apart from that, they sort of span out to different stuff.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. There's like 3 or 4 questions that every club asks, and then like after that, it's just like unique. Like some clubs ask some like curly ones, and others sort of just stick to trying to like get a grasp on your character. But yeah,
I've heard, I'll ask you if you guys have had any weird ones, but I've heard, I think it was Riley copped one where the recruiters just didn't speak to him for like the first couple minutes. Have you had anything like that?
I'm not sure if I did see that clip.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure if I was relating to the same team because Riley didn't say the team either,
Yeah.
so I don't know. But there was a particular club I had which, after watching Riley's clip, I was thinking, were they doing that to me as well, or was it just an awkward conversation?
Surely they couldn't go into
I don't
it
know.
with an awkward
I don't know,
silence.
but in the end of it, it turned out to just be like the most hilarious interview. Like we just like finished it by just laughing. Like we got so sidetracked off the topic of footy and just started like having a laugh. So maybe it was intentional, maybe it wasn't. But yeah, I'm actually not sure.
I haven't had stuff like that, but I've had like weird things happen or like weird questions. Like, so this is all during speed dating as well. I sat down with one of the recruiters, and he shows me a photo of his dog swimming with a dolphin. Like his wife had just sent it to him. And like the interview's 15 minutes, and for 10 minutes of the interview he's talking about his dog and like how it likes swimming.
So he clearly wasn't that interested in you.
I'm like you specifically asked me to be here.
Yeah.
Like, why are you just talking about your dog right now?
Maybe that was a character.
Maybe. And then like I've another one for speed dating. Like I got asked like weird questions, like if your house was on fire, what are 3 things you'd grab? Like what are 3 things you'd...
What are the 3 things you'd grab? I guess both of you.
I said my phone, my car keys, and then I sat there for probably 2 minutes. I was just like, fuck, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And then I just came up. I was like, I've got a bit of cash stashed under the bed. I'd probably take that just in case. And then I spoke to like Dan and like all the other boys after, and they go, oh yeah, I said my footy boots. I was like, that's like $300. You can get that easily. Like, surely you would have taken your phone and your car and freaking all that shit. I'm
So weird, hey? Like, you wonder what their objective is behind that question.
Yeah, some of them are... Apparently they got told to like calm down on the weird questions this year.
Yeah. I don't think I had that club because I never got that question. I'm not sure what I'd grab. I'd probably try and grab my 2 dogs.
Nah, but your family and your dogs are also...
I was about to say, the
safe,
easy answer would be like, I'm grabbing my family, I'd
Yeah.
risk my life for them.
Yeah. Geez, I don't know. Might grab the PS5. That could be a go-to.
That's fair. That's a bit of cash.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever been like close to a fire?
No,
Yes.
I wouldn't be grabbing shit. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I'd be out of there.
I saw. I was walking home once in Melbourne, and this like public like brick and mortar toilets were on fire.
Yeah.
And like I walked past them, and it was like orange glow out of the middle of the night in this like
shit.
park. I was like, oh, I better check that out. And I like saw just this orange glow, and I called 000. I was like, hey, pretty sure there's a fire at this park. They were like, can you check it out and actually see any flames? Like, no, I'm not going any closer to that.
Yeah.
Like, that shit's terrifying. I wouldn't be grabbing shit.
Yeah, I'd grab my running shoes as the last option and get out of there.
I'm grabbing the keys to the door and that's me sorted.
Yeah.
Do you reckon interviewers, because I know sometimes I feel, especially with the videos where you don't click, and I feel like you guys would feel from your perspective where it's you don't really feel like you clicked with the club that was interviewing you. Do you ever reckon interviewers from clubs feel that? They're like, oh, I feel like I f***ed that one with that bloke and now he doesn't think I'm cool?
I don't know. I feel like with some clubs you just get in the zone and the conversation just flows so smoothly, and after there definitely is times directly after an interview where you go smash that, or you go, oh, I don't know, it was a little bit awkward, but I don't really think there's an in between.
But you also get when you think, oh, I've smashed that, they've sort of seemed more interested in you as well. It's not what you've said, it's what they've said. So sometimes you go into an interview and they'll be like, oh, so if we do draft you, this is what's going to happen. You're going to come to our club this day.
Oh, so that just really gets you going, wouldn't it?
It fucks with your brain because you're like, are they telling me they're going to draft me and that this is the plan? They're telling me the plan now, or are they just telling it to me just in case?
I'd be looking for a place in whatever city that was straight after that.
You can tell the clubs which are more interested in you because the ones that sort of let you do more of the speaking and try and get a grasp on your character are maybe a little bit interested, but the ones that tell you the formatting of how it goes after you get drafted and if you'd be living in a host family or with boys, I feel like they're the clubs which are more keen on pulling the trigger.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And one thing, both of you, and I'm going to ask these questions because they're run-of-the-mill questions to both of you, but you both have relatives within the system. Do you get sick of those questions, first and foremost? And do clubs bring it up often in their interviews?
They do, but I sort of like to bring it up as well, just to remind them that that's what he's doing.
Just imagine what I could do.
If you put some time into me, that's what I can do as well.
Yeah.
But they always ask oh, how's it? How do you cope with the pressure? All that sort of stuff. But I've sort of gotten to autopilot when they ask those same questions because I just know what to say in my head now.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Do you cop it much once? Because obviously Ella Roberts is your cousin. It's
different
the
surname.
same, but the different. Yeah. The clubs know first and foremost, and does it get brought up at all?
No, it's a bit different with Roo because we've got the different surname. I think Eagles didn't know until Ella and I devised a plan at a family dinner that he's got to go up to one of the talent recruiters and mention it. You got to do anything to get you over the line.
Exactly.
But I don't think a single club knew. Also, though, Mum loves to try and reformat questions so that she can include that detail so that they know. So, for instance, if a club asks, how are you thinking about it all? Is it a stressful process? And Mum always goes, oh yeah, well, my niece got drafted, so I've sort of got an idea of how it goes. And they go, oh yeah, who's your niece? And we're like, Ella Roberts.
Yeah. I think it's very different circumstances given she was the best in WA and a guaranteed lock and only going to WA.
Yeah.
Now I will get these questions out of the way about your family members. Sam first, is there anything since Jacob's gone into the system that he sort of told you, especially regarding this year, that's really helped you out?
I guess the main thing he told me is just to not worry about a shit game because it happens and people know it happens, so just keeping your head up keeping your head up and just not letting it get to you, and sort of just stuff if you do keep playing like that, you'll get your name out there. For the first 3 rounds, like he was telling me, if you play like that, you'll 100% get drafted, and all this stuff. But yeah, it sort of depends, I guess.
Yeah, and obviously he started getting the Roo chance first, and then you started getting them this year at a few games, I believe. Or did you get them much? And was there any stage that you thought you were getting booed?
I sort of knew that if I did hear something like that, it'd be a Roo. But Not really. I've sort of rued myself a couple times.
He loves a training roo after he kicks a set shot.
Oh, that's actually pretty elite to be fair.
Yeah, like in the SA game at Optus, like I think the Subi boys were there.
Yeah.
Giving a bit of it, and I think during the country game.
It was a very sparse crowd for the Optus game, so it was sort of like no atmosphere. Yeah. It was a bit dead. And Fonts, with Ella, obviously, I guess it's a different situation. Like, she is on a list, she is within, an AFL club, but like, do you and can you really talk to her much about it at all? Or is it sort of just, because it's like such different pathways, is there sort of not much to relate on?
I definitely could. I think I just, like, the conversation, we have so many different, like, random conversations that I don't think, like, there's usually not much room to talk about footy. Like, we talk on Snapchat here and there, but most of our talking's done at, like, if we, like, go around for dinner as, like, a family thing. So we're only seeing each other, like, maybe, like, once or twice a month, and usually it just consists of other chatter. So, I haven't really talked to her much at all about it. We went through the pick, like, listing the other day, and we're, like, fantasizing and saying, oh, imagine this club, imagine that club. But that's just about it. I don't really ask her about any advice and whatever else.
Yeah, and again, I think Fonts maybe, because I didn't even know about you and Ella until she messaged me saying that you two were related.
Yeah.
Do you both get in the shadow remarks at all very often, in your brother's shadow and your cousin's shadow, anything like that? You're not as good as them?
No, I don't think many people know, but I think if the surnames were the same, then a lot more of just, like, the general public would know. But unless you're, like, relatively close with me, I don't, like, people don't really know. So yeah, no, not really.
Yeah, Ro, do you cop it?
I definitely do. Yeah, like I've copped it since Futures.
Yeah,
like I remember first game of Futures was against Subi, and I was just like copping it. Like every time I had a shot on goal, like I don't think I kicked the goal against Subi. They'd be like, "Oh, your brother would have kicked that." I was like, and like I was 15 at the time. Like, he hadn't even been drafted yet. So,
and did it rattle you?
Yeah, I was like
yeah,
like. Doesn't mean anything yet. Like, he could not get drafted. He could fall off.
But like, you're young and it's just sort of like gets you.
Yeah,
but
I've sort of coping with it now.
Gotten used to it now. You kick that 5-goal hole, and since then you're your own
even
man.
then, I still copped it. Like, I kicked, like, in the first quarter, I kicked 2 goals, 1, and when I kicked that first point, it was like probably the easiest shot of the day, and I was copping it then.
Yeah,
and then like. I kicked another 4 behind, and I just kept going. I was like, I've literally kicked more. I've had more shots on goal than your whole team. Like, just relax.
Yeah. Now you both had fairly different pathways to getting to a draftable position. Ru, I'll start with you. Yours was a bit more routine. Futures into Colts, and is it Churchlands?
Churchlands. Yeah.
Do they do school footy or?
They do, but like it's not very big.
Yeah, do you have to play that over Claremont? And I guess just, tell me about your whole sort of pathway leading into this year.
For school footy, it's like tiny, like it's just public schools, so like no one really cares about it too much. Yeah. Like it's a two 20-minute half game on Wednesday.
Yeah,
like, it's not much, but we won the flag last year, which is cool. But like apart from that. Actually cares about it.
Yeah, and just the general pathway to I guess where you are now.
So I started in Futures. Well, I started in under 14s, where like that was my first like time being at Claremont, and then just every age group since, just been working my way up, I guess, and then got to this year and had a good start, and that's sort of what got me in the state team because I didn't start off in the summer squad, and sort of just went from there. Did shit in the champs, but went back to Claremont, put in some alright games, and I guess that's it. Sort of.
Did alright in the champs.
It was a tough one for the K forwards. I don't think any of the K forwards got fully firing.
Yeah,
that's
fair to
because
say.
all three of them. I guess even if you include Evan, like Livingston, very good K forwards, but. it was just one of those unfortunate things that it sort of, I don't know if it was the way we played. I only got to see like 2.5 games, but like, it seemed like more suited to our small forwards than our tall forwards.
I think with champs especially, like, because you haven't done as much training as you have with your waffle club, for instance, and I think that connection between like forwards and midfield and the delivery of like which players to go to is like, that dynamic is very, very important.
Yeah.
So it like requires heaps of training. So that could probably be why.
Yeah, fair enough. And Fonts, your pathway, you weren't on a waffle list. You played for Scotch.
Yeah.
3 flags in a row, Scotch got?
Yeah, I only played for the one though.
Okay, well, still pretty nice. You're playing for Scotch, and then didn't get accepted into East Frio's list, I believe, and then got yourself onto Claremont's list as an overager. Talk to me about that, and I guess you transition into this year, and you're sort of, coming into what isn't a draft year for you, but obviously always draftable.
Yeah. I was playing at East Frio when I was a bit younger, and sort of just treated footy as like a hobby thing, as you do when you're a little bit younger. And I didn't really have like a hone of my ability, didn't know really what I was capable of, whatever else, right? I was just like playing footy as a hobby sport, and then decided to leave with a couple of my mates and never ended up getting an invitation back, which obviously I regretted because, I don't know, so maybe I had a little bit of an expectation that I was going to get an invite back, but I mean, sort of fair play for them. Someone just runs off on you, they probably shouldn't deserve an invitation back. But and then I got noticed through my year 12 season playing Scotch footy, and Geordie flicked me a text, and I knew not to take that opportunity for granted. So I've just put my head down and started having some good moments, which led to more confidence, and then more good moments which led to more confidence, and then got the call up to the state team, which I wasn't really expecting at all. And then sort of didn't let the pressure get to me in the champs games, and had all right runs, maybe apart from that last one. And then, sort of started from there.
You're an overager by like 8 days.
Yeah, 7 days.
Yeah, do you reckon you would have been... Obviously, you're a better player now than you were last year. I think everyone can say that for most years. But do you reckon you would have been anywhere near the position you are, like in state and draft-wise, if you had been on East Frio's list last year?
I don't know. I think that the not getting invited back to East Frio and stuff was sort of a blessing in disguise, and you sort of got to think of it in a way as like, if I never got the invitation, maybe if I did get the invitation back, I'd sort of still take footy as like a cruisy thing, and like, it wouldn't have hit me that like when Geordie invited me, I'd needed to really buckle down and not take the opportunity for granted, in case that I don't get the opportunity to play competitive high level footy, which I love doing. Yeah,
now both of you coming into this year, Roo draft year, you were in that sort of position where, as you've mentioned, you were out of that summer squad, but you still know you're one of those players who are of draftable quality. What was your sort of plan coming into this year for what you wanted? And Fonts, just getting back onto a waffle list, both of you, same thing. What was the main objective and the plan for this year?
I was sort of like disappointed with last year's season, so my 2022 season. I played 6 games or something, and I think the most touches I had was 8 or something, so I was like disappointed with it. I was sort of hoping to do better. And then not making the summer squad, like I sort of expected it. But
it was a bit stiff.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I sort of expected it, but I was like still a bit disappointed at the same time.
Yeah.
So like when at the start of the season, they did the state team did a thing where you could get like 2 players from each club would go and train with the state squad for a week or something, and like I went to to a week of it, and like I was like, this is where I want to be. Like, and obviously Jake had just got drafted as well, so I was like, I want to like follow in his footsteps, sort of. So sort of just worked really hard over summer, like gaining my fitness, and like I put on 6 kilos or something. And yeah, so just like going into even practice matches with like I'm gonna destroy this kind of mindset. Like it sounds like a dick thing because it's like my friends, but like I was getting so competitive with like boys from Claremont, even though it was a practice match, like I just wanted to play well so I could bring that sort of game level into like the first couple rounds, which I knew were like really important to making the state team. So just going as hard as I could for as long as I could to get into the position I was, I guess.
Yeah, Fonts?
Yeah, I had no expectations. Hey, I was just happy to play like high level competition footy. But I don't know. Maybe once I started, especially at training as well. Training against the Claremont boys, and I sort of had a grasp that we were a pretty good side because we had a scratch match against the reserves and ended up beating them as well, which is like pretty unusual. So I had a sort of idea that we were a pretty good team, and then through training I sort of knew that I was one of the better players in a pretty good team, and then I had a couple good games.
Sorry. Here we go.
Sorry.
No, you're dead right. Go on.
And then I don't know. It's just as I started playing better, I sort of understood that maybe I could be a chance at ticking these boxes. I remember especially when I got contacted by my first manager. That was like a huge deal. That was probably the biggest adrenaline rushing thing I've had happen. Like you'd maybe imagine that getting the call up from the state team or getting an AFL team contact you would be like the bigger deal. But at that point in time, just because I wasn't sort of aware of the fact that other people had been noticing me, like it was the first time in my life that had happened, that was a ginormous confidence booster. And then maybe I started setting some expectations after that happened.
Yeah, I was going to ask you this later about the managers, and I guess you could both pitch in, like, the process of getting a manager. I don't know if yours was any easier or if maybe you just went the same as Jacob went, but as for you, Fonts, like, what was that process like? When did it sort of, for both of you, when did it happen that you needed to get a manager, and how did the sort of decision process go for who you picked?
Yeah, I was very, very raw to it all. So when I had one manager contact me, that like freaked me out, and I was like, oh my God, and I had no idea how the process worked, and if there was more than, I didn't even know that there was more than one like managing group. Well, I would have assumed that there is, obviously. But I highly doubted that there'd be more than one with their eyes on me, willing to take me as one of their players. And also as sort of like a kudos to them and credit to them for giving me the recognition early, that sort of played a big role in my decision in choosing them like straight away almost. So, yeah. Yeah,
Roo?
I was very different. Like, so I signed with Tom, who's the same manager as Jake. So I've been speaking to him since I was 15 in futures, so I sort of already like knew that I was gonna sign with him in a way. Like I had other people reach out, but I've sort of just shut them down straight away because like
it's all very, very competitive as well.
Yeah,
like,
I imagine it would
like
be.
the I don't think too many different like managing groups are fond of each other. Like it's a very, very competitive thing.
But like, so I sort of always knew that I was going to sign with Tom, and like he did really well with Jake. So like, and Jake told me about him and sort of said, like, he's good, like he's what you want. So yeah, I just met him a couple times, like when played basketball with him and stuff. And like, I feel like he's the only one that will really like go out and do stuff with you, like go play golf, go play basketball, take you.
Very interactive.
Do you both have the same manager?
Yeah, yeah, he's very, very interactive.
He's like, and he's young as well, so he's sort of like, he's really fun.
What's his surname? Tom who?
Tom Seckle.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've definitely heard that name.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'd known him since I was really young, so, well, not really young, but since he'd signed with my brother. So just like, I'll go the same path he did.
How do those contracts work? I feel like this is something I should know, but like in the AFL, like I just assume it's like a percentage of player wages. How does it work when you're not getting paid? Like, are you paying them, or is it sort of just like an investment on their behalf to hope you get drafted?
It's like full investment. Even your first year of being in an AFL
First
club.
two, I think.
Is it first? It's
Yeah.
first one or two. They
don't get a cent.
They don't get paid.
Yeah,
So-
huge investment. So
Yeah.
it's like they're picking you as your horse, like, and hoping that it pays off. It's full on.
I guess that makes them more invested in like getting you there, which is a
Yeah.
good thing.
And that's why they help you out so much. Like you can ask them for, like, can you reach out to this company to get me? Like, I need a pair of shoes. Like, you did for the combine. I needed some new boots, and I ended up getting a sponsorship with Puma. So like they do a lot for you.
So lucky.
And
That's not luck, mate. That's pure talent.
Yeah, marketable face, handsome.
Was that before or after you kicked 5 goals 5?
it was the game after.
Okay. Was that to sort of hope they'd fix your accuracy up?
No, I'll tell you the actual story. So, after round 2, I my boots I was wearing Tiempos and they'd like started falling apart.
Yeah.
So I said to him, "Oh, can you get me a new pair of boots? Like these are falling apart." And he goes, "Yeah, what boots do you want?" I was like, "Oh, can you get me some Tiempos?" And he goes, "We can't get Nike stock.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to get something else." I was like, "Oh, I'll try these Puma Kings because they're pretty similar to Tiempos." And I got them, and I ordered the wrong size. So
Yeah.
if I had gotten them,
What size are they? I'm actually in need of a new pair.
I had to give them back.
Well, that's bullshit. What's the point of having you boys on? You've seen the Asics I'm rolling with? Those things held together with liquid
Career
nails.
savers.
Mate, those are career ruiners at this stage. I think best I could hope for is like concave, and I'd still have to pay 50%. What are you rolling with, Fonts?
I roll with the Tiempos, but I don't think a Nike sponsorship is coming anytime
yours is out of
soon.
pocket.
Yeah.
How much did Tiempo? Again, I haven't bought new boots in a while.
Oh, yeah.
300.
Yeah, they're pretty flash.
That's why I was like, I don't want to buy them. Can I please get some for free?
How much are you Puma Kings?
They're also 300.
Okay. Do you get free socks with it?
I get free. I got free. Fuck, I don't know what I'm saying. I get free boots and runners. Like if I want, like I have to ask him and say, "Can I have this?" And
Yeah.
they'll be like, yeah, okay. But apart from that, I just said to Tom, I said, "Can I just either get like a discount for Puma or just a bit of credit so I can like buy some socks and stuff, so I don't have to rock Nike socks and all that."
Yeah.
He was like, "Yeah, good idea. We'll sort that out for you."
Genius idea, that one. Now, both of you got off to hot starts in the Waffle Colts. Now, Roo, yours was probably a little bit hotter being a key forward kicking those big goals, but Fonts, yours was, very impressive. You were an immediate standout to the couple games that I watched at the start of the year. Did you both exceed your expectations in those early stages of the years for what you thought you could achieve? And how do you feel? Because again, I can't really relate coming off a game and thinking you've had a good one, but like when you come off after like a 3 or 4 game stretch and they've all been really good games, how are you feeling off the back of that?
You definitely feel confident. Like I remember after round 3, that was like their cutoff for selecting like the initial state squad. So I was like, well, I've done all I can now, and I'm fucking like impressed, I think.
Yeah.
I was pretty.
Well, you were leading the goal kicking at that stage, weren't you?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. So
I sort of wasn't expecting to have done that good. Like I was sort of expecting like 2 goals a game, maybe 10 touches, but like I ended up doing a lot better than that. So yeah, I sort of expected like a big start, but not as big as I did, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, Fonts?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I might be a bit too harsh on myself, like at times.
I
Like,
don't know, you said you were the best player at Claremont before.
I think with me, like, for example, that stretch over the early stages of the finals and maybe just before, like I had 3 or 4 games where I played like pretty well in and got a heap of the ball. But I'm not sure if you watched any of those games. Like for example, like in a couple of them, my like disposal efficiency was like pretty trash, and like
You did have one where I can't remember who it was against at Claremont, because I hype you up a lot in like the Rookie Me draft group chat and all that. You had one where you were really good for a quarter, and then for like a quarter and a half, you just couldn't get like a kick right.
Yeah.
And it was the weirdest thing to watch.
yeah, I don't know. So I like disposals only mean so much as well. Like some people let the stats get to their head, but after if I think I've played well, like I'm satisfied, but I'm definitely more concerned about next time I need to try and knuckle down on that. Very few times. I think after that East Freo game, I think it was the first one where I sort of really wanted to stick it to him as well because it was ex-club. And I thought in my own eyes I had a good game. So that particular game, I sort of couldn't really pick out anything to criticise myself on and was stoked and was thinking, fuck yeah, I smashed that. But every other game, I think the first thing that comes to mind is what can I fix for next game?
Yeah. Now, getting into the state squad, again, both different pathways. Roo, you were first in as a part of that initial squad group for the champs. And Fonts, you came in after one game. So, like, what was it like coming into the squad? You're both sort of new faces at the time. Was it nervous? Do you feel like you've got something to prove? Was it an easy transition? And Fonts, for you especially, to come in with the champs already going. Had you worked with the state group before that, or was it fresh straight into the group? It
was fresh straight into the group. I think that to be honest, like the first few trainings were a lot more daunting to me than the actual first game because obviously it's like an achievement that every alright footy player wants to get to an invitation to the state team. So I was definitely in the car on the way to my first training thinking, geez, like I'm training with a group where there's not a single like bad player. Like this is the best of the best for the state. So that was pretty daunting. But after I had one or two good moments, I recognised that I was fitted in that group and then gave me the confidence for the first game.
Did you think you were one of the better players in the group again, or were you a bit more?
I don't know. I had to wait until I played my first game.
It was a good one, to be fair. And
thank you.
Roo, yourself, how did it feel to come in? I guess, you knew DC, Joey Matthews, Kyder Haviland were there. So, like, Zach Ostelski would have been there at the start as well. So, like, coming in with those Claremont boys, how was that transition and introduction?
It was a bit different to Fonts. So, I guess there were 20 of us that were in the same situation where we only knew the players from our clubs and maybe a couple others. So it was sort of like all meeting each other, we're all just like in the same boat, just like meeting each other at the same time. Whereas with Fonts, you were probably like
I think everyone got around me super easy because that's what you try and do in a team when there's a new addition and everyone already knows each other. So they sort of were really welcoming.
Did you and Willsy sort of get like a little bond by being the two new boys?
Willsy actually showed up a week later. So,
He was sick, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was sick. Okay. So I thought that might have happened. Don't get me wrong, I fucking love Willsy.
But he's dogged you and made you go in on your own.
Yeah, he dogged me and made me go on my own. But there were like every single one of the boys, train-ons included, were just very, very welcoming.
Yeah. Now, as far as the champs, how'd you both feel about your individual performances? Roo, you were a bit down on yours earlier, but I guess, because obviously it is a big step up, how did you feel that you both performed individually?
I obviously underperformed. So, apart from the SA game, like I think I had under 10 touches for the whole champs.
Yeah.
So I was pretty disappointed with that. So, I didn't really expect it. Like I sort of thought it would be the same level as Colts. And then going into that first game against Allies where we got dicked on and I was playing against someone that's as good as Dan. I've never really played on Dan and then going to play against someone who was...
Was that O'Sullivan you're on?
Connor O'Sullivan. So, obviously he's a really good player and I was expecting to go up against someone who I would expect from Colts level. So I was expecting to go out and fucking kick a bag, but I didn't. So it was definitely a shock. But
yeah, and Fonts for yourself?
No, I don't know. No one could still catch me. Hey.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. The first game, I was feeling the pressure a little bit. I don't know if you remember. My first touch was when Oscar Hine-Baston put a really good block onto me and I came through for an intercept mark and straight away after I had that moment I was like, all right, now nerves are settled, I can block in now. And then the game after that as well was against Vic Country was a very, very intense back and forth battle. The crowd was behind us, atmosphere was high, and that's exactly my sort of game. So in that game I sort of got into the zone and got really competitive and gritty about it. The last game was a little bit quiet for me and the boys as a whole. I was a little bit gutted because, the way you sort of look at it is if a team absolutely smashes you and you were not one of the better players on that side, then you look like the
Yeah.
shit player in the shit team.
Yeah.
So I was in the ice bath like, oh shit. But
Yeah.
no, I think my overall run, I think the main thing is that I demonstrated that I can go well under pressure, considering that I got late, that I got added late. But I wasn't a standout or anything, but I was satisfied. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Roo, that Allies game, I only saw a bit of it, like a bit at the start and a bit at the end. Did I see you on a wing at some stage? Were you floating up on a wing?
Yeah, so I didn't get a touch till the fourth quarter.
It was a tough game too.
It was,
Yeah.
but like still, you
Yeah,
didn't expect a
yeah.
touch. But yeah, so I didn't get a touch till the fourth quarter, and the coach sort of was like at halftime, this isn't working. We'll just chuck anyone anywhere, like
Just real throw
like,
with the magnets.
like while she was playing,
Yeah, I heard while she went
was
on one.
playing back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was running on the wing and I had no idea what was going on. I was just like, I was pretty much listening to Reese. So he was like at every contest, he'd be like, go here,
Yeah.
Like, I did not do a single thing if I didn't get told what to do.
Yeah, mate, if that never had happened, maybe I never would have got the call up. Like, if imagine Roo just absolutely tore it up on the wing, like I never would have got that phone
Yeah.
call.
I did tear it up. I had 5 touches.
Oh, did you?
Did you?
Fucking know.
Like, if I played on the wing the whole quarter, I would have had 20.
Clearly didn't do anything with them if they had to call Fonti.
Yeah.
No, that is what. Yeah, what's that transition like from key forwards to like wing? Like I get thrown around in a lot of positions because I suck, but like you're a good key forward. So like when you've got it on the wing and you're looking at like the key forwards in the cage, like to kick it to, is that a weird feeling?
It is like, my first touch, I got a handball from Dan. I was on the run.
Yeah.
I just chucked it on the left foot and it fucking like was the worst
Yeah.
thing ever. And I think it was Walshy somehow managed to mark it.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, how did I do that?
Yeah.
And like, so I guess like one of my other touches was a shitty handball that went to the other plot. Like
That's
the
a
other
touch
team.
still.
Yeah, I sort of, when I went on the wing, it was weird. I sort of like started taking like big like contested marks like I would if I was in the forward line. So it was, I don't know what like snapped in my head, but
What I'm hearing is that playing on the wing is easy,
Yeah.
and Fonta's got it far too good.
yeah, pretty much.
Fonta, you care to add any comments to that?
I completely disagree. I think the wing takes a lot of specialty and is one of those positions that not a lot of people can
He
get a
just
hold of.
rocked
But
up.
yeah, you know,
The-
I don't know.
That game, I don't want to harp on too much about the champs, but that game at the Wacker was obviously unreal as a spectator, and I think I've
Yeah.
spoken to everyone about it, and everyone asks you about it in interviews, but like, how amazing was that game? And I guess just the pressure and the intensity. And, even though we lost by, a goal, but it was still just an unreal game. 2 points.
Yeah.
There you go. I thought it was 4, but
Yeah, it was really like sick to have such a loud crowd. Like,
yeah.
I remember the first time I really noticed it was when Diav almost took that hanger, and it was
Yeah.
just so loud. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. That's the
And-
thing. We got to get beers flowing at more state games. That gets the crowd pumping.
Yeah, and like when we walked off at halftime after that little scrap, and they
Yeah.
started booing country.
About to bring that up.
Yeah,
That-
as we should,
Yeah.
That was like that was like almost funny. I was like, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
I'm pretty like anti like booing and like whatever else, but in that particular game when it was just so hot and like I'd never played in a game where the crowd was not only that big but had so much bias for one team as
Yeah.
well. When they were getting booed into the change rooms, I remember walking into the tunnel and I just could feel my hair sticking up on my arms. I was like,
yeah.
we're gonna stick it to them this next quarter.
It was the most fun crowd I've been a part of. So
Yeah.
I know what it was like. Like, I was in that section. Like, I've told the country boys, so I won't lie to anyone. Like, I was definitely one of the instigators of a lot of booing and like a lot of like Lockie Smith slander, the big ruckman who looked like
Yeah.
he's 40. Like, a lot of those sort of chirps. Like, that was just so fun to get caught up in.
Yeah.
Like, I can only imagine. Were you talking to the country boys at all much, like when you were out there, or was it really just like that intense that like you weren't talking to the oppos?
It was really intense. Like, I know Clay and Harley were having chats, but apart from that, like,
Suck up. He's such a suck up,
I
Clay.
don't know. But I don't think anyone apart from that was like
Yeah.
chatting to their opponent. But
Yeah, no, I don't take that risk. Not at that level. You chat to the wrong bloke that starts playing better when you get under their skin, and then
Yeah.
you're fucked. So
Yeah.
I just keep it quiet.
Yeah, who was your toughest opponent individually that you faced throughout the champs, both of you?
Probably Connor O'Sullivan or
Yeah.
fucking what's his name? Ollie Murphy.
They both had just unreal champs. Like they were two players that both like peaked in the champs. How nice would that be? Just like they've had good seasons in the talent league and then just unreal champs.
Yeah. Because there's only 4 games as well, so one good game is like huge exposure.
Hit form and you're there. Yourself, Fonts?
No disrespect to this guy. I actually forgot his name. You'd be able to tell me who it was.
Yeah.
It's he plays for Vic Country. I think his draft's next year. Half forward.
Finn O'Sullivan?
Possibly. I think it is an O'Sullivan.
Yeah, he's potentially pick one next year.
Yeah. I know that he's next year's crop, but that he's really good as well. But he was very, very zippy and sort of shifty and hard to keep up with, and obviously something I get criticised on a little bit is my accountability. So he didn't help me prove that I was accountable.
Yeah, but if he goes pick one, then you've got.
Yeah, I can tell my grandkids that I played on him.
Yeah, which teammate impressed you the most throughout the champs?
Go on, say it.
It definitely wasn't you.
Noted.
I thought I'll probably have to say Sanch. I didn't expect much of him, to be honest. Like, that sounds shitty of me, but I didn't expect much of him going into it, and he was one of our best players, and like he really surprised me of how well he can actually play in those big games. But yeah, I think going into it, I was like, oh, he's just another small forward. Like, who cares?
Stupid small forwards, they don't kick big goals like us big guys.
I remember Ash Ferreira for me. I didn't know who he was prior to the state team, and when I came in, obviously I didn't have a solidified spot in the team yet. Like, I hadn't been asked to debut, so I was obviously scouting people out in training and going, whose spot am I going to take?
Whose ankles am I clipping during training?
Who's this much better than me? Who's this much worse than me? And I remember thinking, am I going to go on a wing or am I going to go on the half back? And I started doing some close watching to Ash at training and sort of thinking, oh fuck, I don't know if I'm going to be taking this bloke spot. Like, so he was someone who impressed me right off the bat.
Yeah, and I think I've only actually received like 2 answers for this out of everyone I've asked. But who would you least want to room with in the state squad?
Probably Font.
Ouch, man. Wow.
Wait, rates himself too much?
Yeah. I don't know.
I want to be honest, this is no disrespect to the guy whatsoever. Like, I definitely could have thrown some people under the bus who I'm not as close with, but I reckon spending more than 3 hours with Colton Tolstrup would be hard. You know what I mean? You know what I'm getting at?
You get annoying after.
Don't get me wrong, 30 minutes you're bored, that's the bloke you choose to be with because he's going to give you so much entertainment.
Yeah.
After a certain period of time, you're sort of like, man, like, shut up now.
He's the weirdest bloke I've ever met. I love him, but like we were driving down to Binning up together to go to Clay's, and I like mentioned something about like my face. She was like, oh, I should have shaved. Like, oh, there's clippers in the back of the car. Just makes me get these clippers. Like grabs me. He's like, yeah, start shaving, mate. Yeah. So he makes me start shaving on the freeway down. Roo, who are you saying?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to offend anyone. But
the 2 answers that have been Colton and Driscoll. They've been the 2.
Driscoll.
Everyone's saying Drizzy.
Yeah.
I really don't know.
We'll stick with Fonts then.
Yeah, stick with me. I'll bite the bullet.
Yeah. Now, my next question was about your Spono job. Like, do you feel, I guess, when you're around the group, like how many boys have a Spono job first and foremost? And do you feel, obviously there's boys that are better than you, but a little bit like, bit bigger because you've got a sponsor?
Not really. Like, Lance and Colson also are with Puma.
Yeah.
So.
Are they also with Tom? Or
nah.
Okay. So Puma's just dishing out anyone's sponsorships. I don't know what you're doing, Joe.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
That's what it seems like.
I honestly don't know how I have it, to be fair. Like, if I kept playing how I did at the start of the year, I'd be like, oh yeah, fair enough. But after like my performance at the champs, I'm sort of like, I don't know how they still are giving me free shit.
Maybe now it's a bit too awkward to back out of it.
Yeah.
No, maybe they're just still hedging their bets on you.
Yeah, well, hopefully.
Fingers crossed. Now, attention from clubs, we were talking about it earlier that you both had those sort of like spectacular starts to the year. Roo, you've said like yours was much more of a hot start. Your best footy was definitely at the start of the year, whereas Fonts, you were more. Your best footy probably wasn't as elite as Roo's because, you know, the ceiling was unreal, but, like, you were consistent throughout the whole year. So, for both of you, when did the attention from clubs start to come and, like, when did it really come to a climax?
Mine would be after that Subi game. So, that, like I was saying, that speed dating was only for the boys in the state squad. So, that was before, like, I'd been added and I had been, like, requested by people to come. So, that was sort of like my first time. I was like, oh, people are actually looking at me. Like,
other than the one bloke who was showing you his dog with the dolphin.
No, yeah. Yeah, so it was sort of then, I guess, but yeah.
Fonz?
It's like what we were saying earlier about how there's only 4 champs games and like every performance means so much. So I remember, I think it was after the Optus game, my first one, and after it's like a day after as well. Like after the Optus game, I think I got 3 calls, and then after the East Freo, this is actually going back to Waffle, but after the East Freo game, the first time we versed them, I got
your big grudge match.
Yeah, I got I think another 3 that week or something. So it's in retrospective, like
Play East Freo before.
Maybe it was the second round. I don't know. What I'm getting at is though that playing one good game, like clubs look straight at you, like I
guess that's sort of what happened with me as well.
Yeah,
like especially during the super rounds, like all the recruiters had flown over to watch because it was all in one spot to watch those.
I do like that initiative to get it because it brings recruiters down a bit.
Yeah. So like I was after the game, I went and sat with Tom. He was in the stands and he just pointed out every recruiter, like within like 10 meters of him. And I was like, oh god, there's so many people here. Like
it's like at the champs, that game at Optus, I got there a little bit late. Like I think I got there at quarter time and like sat down on the wing and then I sort of looked behind me and you're seeing like Jared Ruffedge, Shane Edwards, like all these blokes on all these rows and it's like they just all congregate together and there's so many recruiters.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard at halftime when you're do you ever do this when you're in the circle at halftime and you know your coach is telling you something but you're facing the crowd and you go
like if
if it's half time and you've got 15 touches, you go.
You should see. I only went to one talent league game other than the grand final, and like just sat on this wing. There was 2 games being played. The amount of recruiters there is unreal. I don't know if they're just easier to spot because it's smaller grounds, but like I was there and like I do like the scouting report and the notes for some games for rookie me. And I was there and I was like trying to look at everyone else's notes to like make sure I was on the right thing. Because like the amount of recruiters, they're just sitting in one spot taking notes. It's absolutely bonkers. Now, Roo, something I do want to talk about, one sort of negative. Obviously, you're an unreal key forward. You've got buckets of talent, but your goal kicking and accuracy sometimes is something that gets the best of you. Like in a 5-goal 5 performance, I don't know if you come off happy or sad after that, but like how frustrating is that? Because you're clearly good enough to be kicking these big bags, but so often sometimes, as you're saying, you're missing the easier ones, and that, like, how frustrating is that as a big man?
It's probably the most frustrating thing about how I play. Like, I'll kick the ones from 50, but then the ones from 15 out, it's like, I think I just get to my head and I sort of think, you can't miss this, don't fucking miss this.
Yeah.
And then the ones where I'm kicking from 50, I'm like, if it doesn't go in, who cares? Like, there's other people down there that get it, I guess, but I sort of just, it's definitely frustrating. And then like you come off after like that Subi game and you're like, I had 10 shots on goal, but I missed 5 really easy shots like that. That shouldn't have happened. Like,
you should see him at training. He doesn't miss. Just when the cameras are on.
It's
at training.
When we played big together, it was shocking. We were both missing everything. I think I beat him in a game of around the world.
Yeah. So I can't deal with
cameras.
Not cameras and pressure, but like I don't know what it's the easy shots that get me.
Yeah, just that it's like the easiest part to overcome, but also the hardest. Like you just need to find some way.
Because I'm just like overthinking. I'm like, I can't miss this. Like, I'd kick this. Like if there was someone standing there, I'd hit them on the chest, but I can't kick it for a freaking 15
Yeah,
wide, like.
nah, I know exactly what you mean. Now, Waffle Colts Grand Final. Claremont's pretty much expected to win a flag every 2 years in the Colts. So, like, the boys just tend to wrap one up every couple of years. So this was your time. What was it like going to the big dance? Obviously, second game at Optus for the year. So for you boys, it was home ground advantage. But how was that? Yeah, that grand final and the leading up moments.
I was really confident in the team. Like we got Dan back.
Yeah.
Because the league had lost.
You'd be feeling huge once
Yeah.
DC
Thanos.
Yeah.
Like we were watching the league super game. We were like if they win, that's good. But if they lose,
Come on.
Yeah, if they lose,
You're like, oh, so
Yeah.
flat you boys lost
Fuck,
today.
we lost.
Dan, you playing for us.
welcome back to a team of winners, Dan. It's like, like I was really confident. I was sort of saying to like people that had asked, I was like, oh, I've got a 100% win rate at Optus. Like,
Yeah.
like obviously,
What are we doing for kick-ons, boys?
Yeah.
Like, where are we celebrating?
And like we'd already planned Mad Monday the day after and all that. But yeah, like I guess we knew we were the better team. It was just whether we performed on the day, I guess.
And tick. Fonts?
I remember. So we versed Perth however many times it was in such a short period of time. I remember the first time they got us, and when it was neither of us had our state boys. They actually had Cohen though as well. And we've got we had 10 people in the state team or something ridiculous. So they only just beat us when we were missing all our state boys. So were they, but we've got three more players in them or something.
That game as well, we were getting smashed in the last quarter.
Yeah.
We came back by 50 points.
Well, you played them 3 times across 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah,
Because I remember I had to watch every single one of them. I was getting sick of watching Claremont versus Perth.
And then I remember the second time we versed them, we were leading, and there was one particular big stuff up where
That was a shocking game of footy. That was probably the worst game of footy I watched.
There was one particular stuff up which cost us a game, or we drew, which they won the regular season. And then the third time round, we beat them.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was just having played them so many times and having the feel on the ground, I think that I had us pegged as the favourites as well. Yeah.
Now, my dad doesn't watch Colts footy at all, but we're all Claremont fans in our family. He was really getting around the boys. He was texting me, why we sent Dan Curtin down back. He was shitting it when, they started to come back. What was it like being out there on the ground where it was just nothing really seemed to work for the boys? All you could do was sort of hold off this Perth attack.
Yeah, I don't know. I was playing for Perth a little bit in the second half of the game. There was one particular stage where I'm not shifting the blame at all, but while at the backline coach, we had a 2 or 3 goal lead going into the fourth or something, and Wall said, "This last time you boys are gonna." He's very passionate, down to earth guys. Yeah. He said, "This is the last time you guys are ever gonna play with each other. Do not go for the hold them off mentality. Take risks. Overrun these guys. Have some fun with it." So I took a kick out and I saw Louis Tangney sitting right in the middle, and it's obviously not the option you should take in that sort of tense situation. And anyways, put on the burners and sent it as far as I could down. It got chewed straight up by Caleb Dempster Park, and they got a goal from it. And then I remember the next kick out, I was like, Dan, fucking run to the ball. I'm not kicking it out.
Yeah. Yeah, Roy, how was it for you? I guess as a forward, you sort of feel like you can't really help. I mean, you're a forward winger, but you're just sort of hoping the ball gets down to you. How do you try and contribute when the team's just holding off on attacks?
I don't think this is really what you're trying to say, but my main thing was they would drop, when it went into their forward 50, they'd drop their ruckman back. Yeah. So I would go and I'd be obviously with the reset rule. You have that 6 man up, so I was being that 6 man up just to go stop anything that their ruckman would get to, I guess. So just sort of playing my role, I guess. Sort of. Your mouth, bud.
Just get you to be my producer.
Just playing my role really, just trying to get my hands on the ball, I guess.
Yeah, now both wrapped up the year with the state combine. How much time did you get to prepare for the testing off the back of the grand final?
How long did we have? A month maybe?
Yeah, I don't know, 3.5 weeks maybe.
Did you have any time off after the granny? Obviously, you would have had a few days off after the celebrations, but
we had So the first, like, we did combine training with the state S&C guys. So the first training was on the Monday
that we had Mad Monday for.
Monday.
So
Yeah,
that was
even if you
right
didn't,
that one
I
off.
think Saturday would have still gone on too long.
Yeah. So so that was sort of a break, and then that Thursday was our first sessions.
Yeah.
Not really any break.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I have a couple, just a little rogue questions here. Actually, I should ask first, how do you feel off the back of your testing, Fonti? Obviously, putting out some pretty good performances. But for both of you, how do you feel off your testing results?
I was...
If you say you're flat about them and you...
No. Do not get me wrong. I hit a PB in agility 20 metre. I don't actually know what I was getting at training. Didn't beat him. This guy's obviously a legend and a gun and is going down in the Hall of Fame.
I'm the most agile in Australia.
Did you get that?
He won.
Did you actually...
He won. Whole of Australia.
I actually didn't see
And
that.
everyone's fucking gone on about Lance. I'm like, I beat him by like
a huge margin.
0.03
I didn't even
seconds.
see that.
Like,
Yeah.
That's unreal.
He belted the whole of Australia.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Jeez. Did you get the Puma gift card for it?
No.
Oh, that's criminal.
I'll get it anyway.
Pretty much runs the organisation.
Yeah, but like no one's gone on about it. Like I don't know why I haven't
I
got
didn't
any
even know
attention
about
for it.
Yeah.
Like,
WA Footy Prospects is out there grinding, trying to get your results out for everyone.
No, I was. Don't get me wrong. I was very, very happy. But my mindset was that the recruiter's going to be there. They have seen me play and know through watching me that I'm agile and quick. So if I produce a super good 2K, then that's something that might raise an eyebrow. So I know Rooyen and I were doing a lot of running training together, and we were sort of on similar par and pace. And when we'd run together, he's the one with the watch, so he'd just be looking at the time, and my sort of plan was stick with Rooyen and we'll end up getting a good time. And that actually was the plan on the day, to stick with him in the 2K, but he ran away from me.
Yeah. He's like that one kid that, when you go into the race at school, we'll run together.
Yeah.
Secretly just
he's that guy, the warm-up lap, everyone take it slow, and he starts fucking sprinting it. But nah, and when I wasn't really sticking with him and it was my plan, I was sort of like, oh, geez, I wonder what the time I'm going to produce is. So I was a little bit gutted about the 2K considering my expectation.
What was your time?
I got a 6:50 and I was aiming for a 6:30 or maybe just after.
Yeah.
It was a super hot day, but,
I reckon if it wasn't as hot, we would have run faster.
Yeah. What did you clock, right?
I got 6:35.
Oh.
PB as well?
Yeah, that's what PB.
Yeah, no, I guess you were pretty happy with that one.
Yeah.
Who took out the 2K?
It was Wilsey.
I
I thought I was going to take out as well. Like 200 metres left. I fucking started sprinting. I was in front for like a good 10 seconds, I reckon. And then I started slowing down, and I just see Wilsey and Ash and Oscar just fucking going up past me. I was like, fuck.
You'd be spewing.
I was like, I should have waited like another 100 metres to start sprinting, but I was pretty happy with it. I wasn't happy with my jumps. Like, I felt like I rushed it a bit. Like the way they set it up, like it seemed really rushed. Like you'd go from one jump, you'd do your 3 jumps, and then they go, straight to the next one, and you feel like you didn't have time in between jumps.
Yeah, they say you can rest however long you want, but when
they don't really mean it.
When there's 20 people in the crowd watching you waiting for your next jump, you sort of feel obliged to get it over and done with.
So like, I reckon if I took more time, I would have done better in the jumps, because obviously that's one of my main strengths in my game. So yeah.
Did they have like a board or something with all the results going straight up like they do with the national combine, or you only sort of just...
But they'd tell us like...
They'd yell it out.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Because I remember with the national combine, I was watching like that testing day, and everyone was just... They only had the 20-metre sprint results up, but everyone was just keeping their eyes peeled on that. Now, I'll get a couple just random questions before I do wrap this up. Got our last few questions. Your dad was born in England. Do you have is English culture much a part of your family? Have you been to England much?
We used to go when I was younger, like when I was 5 or 6, but we haven't gone since then. So
yeah, are you into the soccer much at all then, or?
Nah, not at all. He's sort of into the rugby. I've tried to start watching it, but I just hate it, find it boring.
It is a bit.
I find rugby's one of those games where it's so much fun to play, but it's so boring to watch.
I don't think I enjoy playing rugby.
Really? Or your body would be smashed up.
I like touch rugby. Like we used to do it at school, which was fun. But apart from that, I reckon
Maybe if and God forbid AFL doesn't get worked out for you boys, flag football in the Olympics. Who knows? Now you're obviously a Sparky. We were talking a lot about that earlier. Do you enjoy being a Sparky, or is it something that you sort of just doing to pass the time?
I do enjoy it. Or like obviously you don't enjoy going to work, but I feel like if I was doing anything else as a job right now, because obviously I'm not at uni, if I was doing anything else, I'd like dread it, like I'd hate it. So I feel like being a Sparky's
It's like the worst option.
It's the best worst option, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Fonts, first one about you. What are you doing outside of footy?
I'm studying commerce at UWA.
What does that actually mean? Because everyone's going and studying like marketing or commerce. Like, what are you trying to get out of studying commerce?
To be completely honest, I'm just trying to get the degree under the belt.
Yeah. Also, UWA must be a bit smart.
Not particularly.
Yeah.
Work ethic. No.
Yeah. You don't think you're one of the better ones in the class?
It's actually not super difficult to get into the course. But yeah, my mindset doing that, the reasoning behind that is just so I get the degree under the belt, and then by the time it's done, maybe I've got an idea of what I want to do. But up until then, I feel like it's the degree that's most flexible. And if you don't know what you want to do, then it would help to have it under your belt. You'll
be on a list by then anyways. And your birthday's on Christmas Eve. What is that like? Does it suck?
Everyone always asks that question. Yeah. It's all I've ever known because you only have one birthday. But I don't know. I'm lucky enough to have a family that gets me presents on one day and then presents on the other and treats them as separate events. Occasionally you get the one present which is like, oh, this is a sick present, and then the day after it's like, I see that you spent all your money on the first day.
I feel like you'd rather it on Christmas than on your birthday.
Yeah.
Like, you wait that extra day.
Yeah.
Does it make it tough to plan a birthday party?
No, it doesn't. There's actually a bunch of maybe when I was a bit younger. Now that I'm allowed to go out and drink,
I guess Christmas Eve.
Yeah, there's a bunch of places which do Christmas Eve festivals, so that's always automatic. Like, thank God I don't need to host a party at my house. We can just take everyone to the festival. Yeah.
And final one, obviously we're just days away from the draft. How are we both feeling? You're both in pretty similar positions where there's obvious interest, but you don't really know. How are you both feeling with these final few days ahead?
It's definitely very nerve-wracking. Like, you sort of, like, it's always on your mind. Like, I'm at work and I'm like, fuck. Like,
just thinking about it.
I'm literally like, this could be my last ever week. Like, full week of work. And I'm like, but, like, I've only had this many clubs. Like, oh, it's not going to happen. Like, I'm so, like, bipolar with it that I'm like, one day I'm like, oh, it could happen. Like, they could just take me and take a chance. Or I'm like, no way, it's going to happen. Like, I'm going to be a Sparky for the rest of my life. And type shit. So yeah, it's like I'm very bipolar with it. It's nerve-wracking. It's also exciting at the same time. Like I said, having that thought that like this week could have been my last ever full week of work.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, surely, just like, please, like.
Yeah. Makes you feel bad for the blokes that had to like be a Sparky and play footy like 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Now, Fonti, how are you feeling?
I'm just, to be honest, very, very excited by it. Like, I don't think there's really any sort of anxiousness attached to it. Like, I'm very satisfied with my life outside of footy. Like, I've got a great group of mates and I'm at uni and whatever else, and I'm enjoying life. So I'm trying my hardest to look at it as a sort of, if it happens, it would be incredible, but if it doesn't, it's not like my life's on a negative trajectory where, you know, like my earth comes crumbling down.
Yeah.
And also because particularly I just like went into this year with no expectation to be in the place that I'm in right now. So yeah, I don't think it's really fair for me to have that expectation and think, oh, if I don't get drafted, then it's the end of the world. You sort of just got to look at it as a lottery ticket. Like, you buy it and don't expect to win, but you hope you do.
Yep. All right. Well, boys, that's all I've got for you. Thank you for coming out and having the chat. It's been an absolute pleasure. And both of you, best of luck for next week.
Thank you very much.